Hi guys, and thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to my channel, I'm Kat and I like to talk about true crime, conspiracies and all sorts of related things. In today's video I want to talk to you about Brittney Wood. But before we get started, just a quick disclaimer: all the information I'm giving you in today's video is already found in the public domain. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone I talk about in the video, and also this is purely for educational purposes. Thank you so much. So let's get started. Brittney Wood was a 19-year-old young lady who lived with her mother, Chessie Wood, in Mobile, Alabama. She had a 2-year-old daughter she was caring for at the time. On 30th of May 2012, Brittney left home somewhere between 7 and 7:30 p.m. and was initially believed to be meeting a friend. Family members didn't really think much of it when they didn't hear from her, because it wasn't that unusual for her to be gone for days at a time. But panic set in after a couple of days when Brittney's family couldn't reach her through her phone. She was reported missing on June the 2nd. Later, it came to light that Brittney was actually with her uncle, Donald Holland, who picked her up from close to her home and took her to a house on Waterworld Road near Styx River in Baldwin County, Alabama, where he lived. The authorities would never get to talk to him because he died. On 1st of June, just one day before Brittney being reported missing, Donald shot himself in the head in his car at a secluded location. Brittney's phone battery was later found in his car, although the phone itself has never been found to this day. The gun used by Donald was later confirmed to be Brittney's gun. The family only realized Brittney was missing after Donald died. While the search for Brittney went on, horrific details of a sex ring where juveniles were abused multiple times came to light. Brittney's best friend, Tiffany Bailey, said that Brittney purchased the gun for protection not long before she went missing. Donald, who was already under investigation for the sex ring, was considered the ringleader, and many members of the Wood family were arrested on various charges that involved crimes against minors. The ones that were convicted included Brittney's aunts and uncles. Brittney was also believed to be a victim of the abuse. But when it came to Brittney's whereabouts, the leads were almost non-existent. The authorities looked into Brittney's cell phone records and conducted extensive searches with no success. The authorities considered the abuse investigation and Brittney as connected more than a year after her disappearance. In the end, Brittney has still not been found, and what happened to her has remained a mystery. Chessie believed that Donnie's wife, Wendy, who is also her sister, knew where Brittney was. Brittney or her remains have not been found even after 10 years. Investigators believe that she is dead. The Baldwin County Sheriff said, and I quote, "There is no evidence that would suggest she is still alive. We have her entered into the computer as a missing person. She has not come across anybody else's radar anywhere in the US. When you balance the evidence out, it's overwhelmingly that she is probably deceased." The case, however, has remained open. Available to stream on Peacock now, Monster in the Shadows is a 3-part docu-series that digs deep into the unsolved disappearance of Brittney Wood. Back in 2012, the case shocked and captivated the state of Alabama, leading to several theories about Brittney's disappearance. Across the course of the documentary, there are gripping twists as the truth about Brittney Wood's family is uncovered. Cell phone records gathered by detectives working on the case also place Brittney at Donnie's property. This was the last trace of Brittney Wood. One day later, Donnie was found in his car with what was perceived to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The vehicle had been parked in an isolated bit of land overlooking Fish River in South Baldwin. Donnie was then taken to the hospital, where he died 2 days after Brittney's disappearance. His death was ruled as suicide. However, Both of these discoveries have never been fully explained. Questions have also surfaced about the location of Donnie Holland's gunshot wound to the head, raising suspicions he was shot by somebody else. The discovery of Brittney Wood's gun also led some to believe it was planted. A ballistic analysis was never carried out, meaning that any DNA on the gun and bullet was never recovered. Nikki Patterson, the assistant district attorney in Mobile County, told Alabama local news in March 2019. Baldwin County had every reason in the world to think of it as a suicide. At that time, there was no indication at the depth of what we were looking at, and no one was aware that Brittany was missing. Nikki also added they came across a body with a gunshot wound to the head that appeared to be self-inflicted, and he was being investigated for molesting. His wife said they were out looking for him because he threatened to commit suicide. Brittney Wood's disappearance led law enforcement to uncover an incestuous child abuse sex ring that was headed by Donnie Holland and, check this out, 3 generations of his family. 3 generations. Can you even imagine? The authorities also determined Brittany herself had been a victim of SA at the hands of her relatives. In total, 11 people were arrested on child SA charges, including Donnie Holland's wife Wendy Holland and Brittany's brother Derek Wood. Other family members and family friends arrested included Nelton Butch Morgan, Brittany's uncle Dustin Kent, Dustin's wife Mandy Kent, James Kumba, Randall Scott Wood, and Jennifer Moore. Donnie Holland's wife, Wendy Holland, who was found to have deleted several text messages off of Donnie Holland's phone when she found him injured, was sentenced to 219 years in prison after being convicted of sodomy, SA, and child torture in 2015. She is not eligible for parole and continues to maintain her innocence. Stephanie Hankey, Brittney Wood's stepmother, believes Wendy knows something about Brittney Wood's disappearance, given that her husband Donnie is believed to be the last person to be seen with Brittany. She told Alabama local news, "I think she knows certain things. There are things she can shed some light on." Brittany's uncle, Dustin Kent, was sentenced to 17 years in prison in November 2015 on charges of sodomy and incest, and James Kamba, a Wood family friend, faced charges of sodomy, SA of a child, and rape. Brittney Wood's other uncle, Randall Wood, was charged with rape, sodomy, and child enticement, and Nelton Butch Morgan faced charges of child SA and rape. Brittany's brother, Derek, and her cousin, Donald Holland Jr., were granted youth offender status, meaning their records are sealed. In Monster in the Shadows, it is revealed Derek was also a victim of SA, took a plea deal, and served 3 years in prison. He has also had to register as a sex offender for life. Former detectives and Brittany's mother, Chessie Wood, have considered the theory that the teen may have been meeting with her uncle to confront him about the SA, and she paid for telling the truth with her life. At the time of Brittney Wood's disappearance, Donnie Holland had been under suspicion of child molestation offenses, and police were closing in on him. Brittany's uncle Randall tipped off the authorities on February 26, 2012 to report the family SA. On the day Donnie Holland was found with a self-inflicted wound to the head, he had been scheduled to be questioned by officers investigating the child SA allegations. However, law enforcement agencies have officially maintained the Brittney Wood missing person case and the child SA investigation are not linked, but Brittney Wood's family believes differently. There are also numerous theories Brittany was kidnapped and sold into sex trafficking, or that she simply ran away. In a surprise turn of events, Chessie, who fronts Monster in the Shadows and is leading the search for her daughter, was charged with 2 counts of sodomy and SA of a child less than 12 in 2013. In October 2016, she pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of reckless endangerment and did not serve any prison sentence. As heard in the documentary series, Chessie continues to maintain her innocence in the child SA ring led by her brother-in-law, Donny Holland. 7 years after Brittney's disappearance, in 2019, class kids team members were at Donny's property with a search dog. The dog and its handler spent about 30 minutes looking around the property off Waterworld Road in the Styx River community. The focus of the search was around a concrete slab which Chessie said was poured around the time the 19-year-old mother disappeared. A film crew from London videoed the search as part of an ongoing documentary shoot about the missing persons case. A special piece of equipment was used to record images from underneath the concrete slab. Baldwin County Sheriff's investigators previously conducted a search of this same property using cadaver dogs with no results. That was at the request of mobile police who worked the missing persons case. Chessie Wood said no conclusive evidence had been found by the end of the search day. In July 2020, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released an image showing what Brittney Wood, who has been missing since 2012, would look like aged 27. According to information provided by the Mobile Police Department, the publication of that image resulted in a tip received by the Mobile County Sheriff's Office. MCSO got a search warrant for 11070 Ramsey Boulevard in Grand Bay, where a unit working with a dog reported hits by the dog. That in turn led to a warrant for a dig, which began on Monday, July 27, 2020. Mobile Police Sergeant Jeffrey Corley said that the 11,000 block of Ramsey Boulevard has previously been searched, but the tip and the dog's response justified new action. The MCSO was taking the lead at the site because it is out of the mobile police jurisdiction. By midday Tuesday, no discoveries had been made public. Paul Birch said that investigators began digging with hand tools on Monday but were interrupted by rainy weather. When work resumed on Tuesday, heavy equipment had to be brought in to deal with debris piles, including heavy chunks of concrete and machinery. With those out of the way, work resumed with hand tools on Tuesday afternoon. The area had been pretty well searched in the past for any signs of a body, but no excavation had been done. In the latest search, 2 trained cadaver dogs were used. 2 separate dogs showed interest, he said. It was not an all-out alert. Brittney Wood's mother waited all day near the search scene in the hope investigators would find something relating to her daughter's disappearance. After the dig proved fruitless, Chessie told NBC 15, "Deep down, my baby is not here anymore. Actually, our thought process as a family changes. At the end of the day, my sister, Wendy Holland, or her husband, Donald Holland, has something to do with the disappearance of my daughter." Investigators believe that on May 30th, 2012, Brittney Wood went to visit her uncle, Donny Holland, who lived near Fairhope. At that point, Donny was already under suspicion of child molestation. By the next day, he'd been found dead of a gunshot wound to the head that was believed to be self-inflicted, but doubts have been raised about that. Donny Holland's death hid the fact that Brittney Wood was missing for a short time and made it impossible to determine exactly where she'd been or who she'd been with leading up to her disappearance. As the search for her continued, a horrifying picture emerged of web of relatives who helped each other in sexual atrocities. Not all family members were involved, but those who did allegedly committed offenses in Stockton, Saraland, Fairhope and Mobile. Nikki Patterson, an assistant district attorney in Mobile County, said at the time that Donny Holland's place in the web of offenses was representative of generations of abuse. "We have generations of people who were abused and never disclosed it," Patterson said. Their lack of disclosure unfortunately allowed the next generation of kids to be abused as well. Unfortunately, the disappearance of Brittney Wood remains unsolved today. I wanted to make a crime documentary that could actually help the family. I started researching missing persons cases in America and I was blown away by the amount there were, said director and producer Thomas Leader. Even though there are tens of thousands of missing people, what happened to Brittney Wood stands out. There are so many unanswered questions that I wanted to get answers for, so many twists and turns that I wanted to understand better. Sadly, Baldwin County Sheriff Hugh Hoss Mack and the police department believe Brittney Wood is deceased and her body has been concealed. The case still remains open. In a statement, he said closure will only come when Mrs. Wood's killer or killers are indicted and Mrs. Wood's body is located. Brittney Wood was 17 when she gave birth to her daughter Peyton. In 2018, a news outlet spoke to Brittney's then 8-year-old daughter Peyton on what would have been her mother's 26th birthday. "I would give her a balloon. I can't give her a hug, I wish I could," the little girl told them. "I miss her." Chessie Wood hopes that Monster in the Shadows will finally give her and her granddaughter some closure, but she has begun to lose hope that her daughter will be found alive. She recently told Mobile's Fox 10 News that while she's grateful that the docu-series has put her daughter's case back in the news, she's also finally begun planning a funeral for Brittney Wood 10 years after her disappearance. "I promised her that I would not give up ever until I take my last breath, and if this documentary is it, which we are praying it may be, we were willing to give it a shot," Chessie said. All 3 episodes of Monster in the Shadows are available to stream on Peacock now. So if you guys are interested to hear more about the case, go to Peacock and you will be able to watch the docu-series. Okay, so this is the story. I really wanted to bring awareness to this case. So please do tell me, what do you think happened in the comment section down below. Honestly, I think that Brittney went to see her uncle Donnie to confront him about the abuse. Possibly to tell him that she will report him to the police. His wife, Wendy, was in it as well. And it's possible that either Brittney shot Donnie and then Wendy shot her, or Wendy killed both and then staged Donnie's suicide. Let's remember that she got 219 years in prison after the family members were caught in the sex ring. So she had a lot to lose from Brittney going to the police, and Donnie was already in the process of being questioned by police. So again, Wendy could have suffered from Donnie's questioning at the police if she would let it happen. So this is what I really think happened. I think that the most likely scenario, in my opinion, would be that Wendy actually killed Brittney and then killed Donnie, but made it seem like a suicide. And she left the gun there because she knew it was Brittney's gun, and so she would distract the police from actually realizing that maybe it's not a suicide. Okay, so please do let me know what do you think in the comment section down below. Also, you can head on to Peacock if you want to watch the docu-series. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and please don't forget to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whichever you prefer. Either way really helps me and my channel, and it's free, doesn't really cost you anything. Until next time, stay safe and take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.